Coming to you live from Ursprung Gymnasium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. Welcome inside our coverage of Yellow Jackets basketball tonight on bwyellowjackets.com. Brendan Gulick and Eric Kwiatkowski alongside. And I'll tell you what, we've got a matchup tonight between two teams that are not conference opponents. They play each other an awful lot. The Yellow Jackets 7-0, having a really good year, basically the best season they've had in a decade. And you've got an Ohio Wesleyan battling Bishops team that's probably a little better than their record.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it. They're no strangers to each other tonight. BW, like you said, is 7-0 on the year. And the battling Bishops, unfortunately, they dropped 6 out of their last 7 games. They're 1-4 on the road. But, you know, they always come to play, and I expect both teams to bring their A game tonight.
Baldwin Wallace is also undefeated in conference play. It's pretty nice to get off to a 4-0 start in the OAC because of how challenging this conference can be. And a big reason why they've gotten off to such a good start is Mackenzie Colombo.
Yeah, she's been great. She's scoring the basketball, making plays for the rest of the team. And, you know, she's not really known as a scorer coming off, even though she's coming off her career-high 25-point game against Capital the other night. But, yeah, she's been great. Just a great player to watch. And, you know, I expect great things out of her tonight as well.
She's been unbelievably important and a leader for Sherry Harrer's group. That's something she needs, especially tonight, because this is a senior-laden team from Delaware, Ohio, the Ohio Wesleyan Battling Bishops, a team that can shoot it from several different spots on the floor, but the Battling Bishops are known for a couple of all-conference performers.
Yeah, Megan Keeter and Taylor Dixon, definitely the main points of this team. They both shoot the ball really well, and they complement each other really well. You know, they got a guard that's able to use the pick and roll to get into some nice action, and then they got their wing player that's able to shoot that 3-ball. So they complement each other really nice, and I expect them to play really well as well tonight.
BW leads the all-time series 11 games to 5. We've got a good one on tap here tonight. It's the Yellow Jackets and the Battling Bishops. We'll hear from head coach Sherry Harrer coming up next on bwyellowjackets.com. Let's give you the starting lineups here before Baldwin Wallace and Ohio Wesleyan get ready to go tonight. And we will start with the visiting Battling Bishops. 3-6 overall. Played a couple of conference games so far, but they have only come up with one conference win, and that was their opener against Oberlin. Again, 3-6 on the season. Here's how they'll go out there. At forward, a 5'8 senior from Baltimore, Liberty Union High School, Taylor Dixon. We talked about Megan Keeter in the pregame, the senior guard out of Marion Local High School, 5'5 point guard. She's a pure point guard and a really good player. Keeter and Dixon combined on the season are scoring at almost 26 points per game. Freshman guard from Rocky River, the west side of Cleveland, number 24, it's Nicole Popovich, and she's had a nice start to her freshman campaign, making her fourth start of her career tonight, averaging nearly 18 minutes per night. Freshman guard from West Jefferson High School, Claire Sterling. Claire is making her 9th appearance, and she's making her 5th start of the season. Sterling averaging 5 points and 6 rebounds per contest. And the final player is another freshman. She will flex between a guard and a forward. It's Aaliyah Karras. She's from Miami Valley High School in Bellbrook. Aaliyah Karras having a good start to her career. She has started each of the 9 games entering tonight. Karras is a very dangerous shooter when she gets close to the basket. So it's Dixon, Keeter, Popovich, Sterling, and Karras. The head coach for the Battling Bishops is Stacy Ungashik Lobdell, and she's assisted by Sarah McQuaid and Al McFarland. For the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets and head coach Sherry Harrer, she'll send out freshman guard Casey Hughes from Springboro down in the Dayton area. Hughes having a nice season, making her 8th start of the year. At forward, a senior from Lake Ridge Academy, and from Parma, Sydney Clark. And Clark's having a terrific season, leading the team in scoring 10.4 points per game. Katie Smith, a junior guard from Fairview High School. She's from Fairview Park in the greater Cleveland area. Katie Smith making her 8th start of the season tonight, 4 points, 2 rebounds a night. Mackenzie Colombo, we mentioned she is the OAC Player of the Week. The senior guard from Strasburg had 25 points last week in a midweek game at Heidelberg. She played a really good contest on Saturday at Capitol to help the Yellow Jackets over the hump in a conference win down in Bexley. And the final starter for the Jackets is senior forward Clara Lemon, a 5'11 forward from Louisville High School in Canton. Lemon is a really big staple of this offense for BW, makes her 8th start of the season. She leads the team in rebounding with almost 8 a night, and she scores 8 points a game as well. Hughes, Clark, Smith, Colombo, and Lemon for the Jackets. Dixon, Keeter, Popovich, Sterling, and Karras to start for the Battling Bishops. Sherry Harrer in her 27th season with more than 500 wins as a head coach. Her assistants are Cody Hartzler and Cassie Seth. Our officials tonight, Nick DeCesar, Pat Campbell, and Jim Shartman. And we are just about ready for the opening tip. We'll take a timeout for the national anthem, and when we come back, Eric will share his keys to the game before the Jackets and Bishops take the hard court. Yellow Jacket basketball coming up next on BWYellowJackets.com. Yellow Jackets and Battling Bishops about to get ready tonight. We are just about underway. Yellow Jacket basketball brought to you by Valley Ford Truck. When you need a job, and it's a big job, if you need it done the right way, call Valley Ford Truck. We carry the load for BW. Also brought to you by the Oreo Cafe, a great place for sports, just 2 minutes up the road from campus at 294 North Rocky River Drive. And by Integrity Berea. When you are looking for a place to call home, choose Integrity Berea. Visit us at mybereaapartment.com. Eric, how about a couple keys to the game for the Jackets, who have played very well so far this season, and they've got another non-conference test on their hands tonight?
Well, for the Jackets, my main key is to not believe what you see on paper. You know, this team is 3-6, like I mentioned, 1-6 in their last 7 games. But they've got really good sneaky shooters. They spread out the floor really well. They can all shoot it. And we haven't even talked about her. Trisha Lacey is their top scorer, and she's coming off the bench tonight. So you got to be ready to guard at any position at any time.
You know that there is some depth on the Battling Bishop side of things. Trisha Lacey started the first 6 games of the season, but now in game 10 for them, it's her 4th consecutive game coming off the bench. You know, maybe Ohio Wesleyan just trying to find that right group that gets them off on the right foot. Those 4 games in a row in which Lacey has not started, the team has gone 1-3, but you mentioned in the open 1-6 after a 2-0 start.
Like you said, they're just trying to find that spark. It never hurts to have someone off the bench who can come in and contribute with a different group of people. You know, you're always going to get that production from the starters most nights, but it's rare to have that kind of flow off the bench that you don't usually see. So,
if you're joining us a little late, I'm Brendan Gulick alongside Eric Kwiatkowski. The Jackets are in their white tops and white shorts with brown and gold numbering and lettering. Ohio Wesleyan in the black and red numbers and letters across the front. Battling Bishops made the trip up from central Ohio, just a couple miles north of Columbus, out in Delaware, Ohio. A couple hours away, about 2 hours and 25 minutes from campus to campus. BW 7-0. It's the best start the Jackets have gotten off to since 05-06. And we are underway for just the second time this year, a home game for Baldwin Wallace. It's Colombo who will run the show more often than not, working to the left side for a quick 3-pointer. Sydney Clark buries it early, and the Jackets take an early lead.
She's definitely not afraid to shoot it, now shooting over 40% this season from 3.
So Ohio Wesleyan gets into their set. You'll see the Jackets primarily run a person-to-person defense. On the right wing, Aaliyah Karras. She'll set a screen after handing the ball off to Keeter, and she traveled during the lane. So Keeter turns it over early on, and the Jackets get the ball back. Officials again tonight, Nick DeCesar, Pat Campbell, and Jim Shartman. They will officiate the game, and honestly, we've seen all 3 of these guys several times over the years. Familiar with this program, no doubt. In the corner, Casey Hughes gives it up. They swing it around the perimeter. Colombo finds her teammate Lemon in the corner. To the top of the arc, Clark, another 3-ball. She hit again. 2 threes for Sydney Clark in the opening couple of minutes.
It's never bad when your top scorer on the team gets started early.
Baldwin Wallace trying to clog the lane as the Bishops look for an open shot. This is Dixon for 3, and she buries a triple. So the deep balls are flying early in the first quarter. Layup is good for Mackenzie, and Colombo gets her first bucket of the night. It's an 8-3 Baldwin Wallace lead. It's kind of funny to hear Coach Harris say in the pregame interview, I hope we still know how to play at home since I haven't had a home game since November the 15th.
It's funny, when you practice here, it's not always the same, you know, kind of deal when you're playing here. So I can see where she's coming from, but at the same time, it's not really a common phrase you see people use.
Sterling drove the lane, gave it up top, and the hurried shot just popped free. Dixon couldn't find the bottom of the can. Baldwin Wallace leads by a handful, couple minutes in. Clark looked like she was open. Colombo instead slashing to the hoop, puts it in and one. Mackenzie Colombo and Sydney Clark, a couple of upperclassmen, taking over here in the first few minutes. Foul called on Megan Keeter, her first. and the first foul of the game. Colombo's shot is up and good. So Baldwin Wallace with an 11-3 advantage early on. They've hit all 4 shots from the floor, including a couple of threes. Great start for BW. Sterling in the corner got bumped. Casey Hughes commits the personal. Sherry Harrer squatting in kind of a catcher stance over in front of her own bench, while her coaching opponent tonight, Stacy Ungashel Lobdell, standing with her hands on her head. She looks a little frustrated. Anyways, it's Aaliyah Karras looking for some space. She gives up to Sterling, who puts up a runner, and it banks off the side of the window. And the whistle goes against the battling Bishops.
That's what Sherry Harrer wants to do. She wants to get them off that three-point line and get them into the lane where Clara Lemon's going to be waiting to force bad shots.
It's the second foul of the quarter on Ohio Wesleyan. First personal on Claire Sterling. BW by 8 early on. And unfortunately, it stays that way for a moment after the miss. Battling Bishops in transition. Sterling in the corner wants a little driving lane. Keeter facing up against the defender, gives it away. Karras sets a nice screen. Nicole Popovich gives it away. Keeter denied on the baseline. She forces it anyways. Too short, and the rebound pulled down by the Jackets. It's Clara Lemon that pulled it free. Hughes finds an open Katie Smith, and the 3 ball is pure. 14-3, Ohio Wesleyan burns a timeout. What a start for Baldwin Wallace.
I don't think they've missed a shot yet. No, they missed one. Clara Lemon just missed one, but still a great start.
Fabulous effort in the early going. 3 3-pointers and 5 of 6 from the floor as the Jackets have built an 11-point cushion early in the game. Timeout on BWYellowJackets.com. Baldwin Wallace with an 11-point lead over Ohio Wesleyan. Just a couple of minutes into the game, Eric. 5 of 6 from the floor. They've hit 3 threes early on, and they're getting the looks they want.
It's been very impressive, and it's coming from their 2 leading scorers, Sydney Clark and Mackenzie Colombo. But obviously not surprising, but anytime you can get them off to a hot start, it just helps the morale of the whole team.
You're about to see 5 fresh faces check in for the Yellow Jackets at the next dead ball as Keeter tries a triple. It banks off the front of the rim. Sydney Clark was fouled as she tried to pull in the rebound. Clark's hit a couple of threes. Mackenzie Colombo's gotten into the scoring column as well, as the 5 in, 5 out whole style changes come in for Baldwin Wallace. Tiffany Bentler, the freshman guard from North Canton. Kara Marshall, the freshman guard from Copley. Ball is bounced to Bentler in the corner. She picks up her dribble, throws it back up to the top where Riley Schill, a freshman from Elyria Catholic, is making her first appearance of the game. This is Hannah Fecht, the sophomore from Hilliard-Davidson. Fecht had a really nice game against Heidelberg last week. Bentler finds Fecht for 3. And the 3 ball doesn't go, but a great offensive rebound and put back by Rachel Wommeldorf, the sophomore from Columbus. She went to Olentangy High School. This is a young group on the floor for Baldwin Wallace, but man, they've proven to be good in conference play so far as Ohio Wesleyan gets their first layup of the game.
Yeah, both Wommeldorf and Fecht played a lot of time last year, even in starting positions for Sherry Hare. So it's nice to see them, coming off this this bench squad with a bunch of freshmen and giving them that lift.
Looked like Bentler just got her heel along that near sideline. So she checks back down to the defensive end of the floor. Meanwhile, Claire Sterling has a seat. And here is Tricia Lacey, the leading scorer for the Battling Bishops. Down by 11 early in the game. Not a surprise to see her quickly in there. Keeter in the corner, tries a skip pass over the top of the defense. Almost turned it over. Instead, a step back 3. And it clanked a little too long for Lacey, but she fortuitously got the bounce. Actually, a bigger part, and that was Karras that got the rebound. Lacey has the top of the arc. Keeter had the fresh shot clock after the miss, so she's got some time to set something up. Got a nice screen, pulled up, and hit it. Well, we're more than halfway through the first quarter, and the Yellow Jackets lead by 9 as Bentley's cross-court pass did not connect. Stays with the Jackets on this end of the floor, though. Teams have taken care of the ball in the early going. It's just a matter of Baldwin Wallace starting with kind of the hot hand. As the defense backs into a 2-3 zone. Ball was nearly bobbled in that far corner. Marshall gave it up, and Schill put it in. Riley Schill with her first basket of the night. And the Yellow Jackets go back to that 11-point advantage as Lacey puts up a 3. Keeter the rebound. They'll try another one from distance. That one's good. Ohio Wesleyan won't stop shooting threes all night long, and Sherry Harrer says, okay, group number 1, get back to the scores table. Offensively, not much going on here. Tiffany Bentler bounces it up. Wommeldorf gave it free. And a bad turnover up top. Coast to coast, Popovich. Blocked from behind. Had effect, did not bite on the pump fake. 3-on-1. And the baseline jumper doesn't fall for Wommeldorf. Final 3:30 of the first half. Ohio Wesleyan looking around, trying to find that open shooter in the corner. Can't forget where Dixon is. Keeter was open, and her three-pointer missed. Ohio Wesleyan gaining a little momentum. Well, that ball was nearly passed twice. She just kept bobbling it. Fecht had her shot blocked to Wommeldorf, who put it up and in. It's pinballing around.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Ever since they've gone to the zone, Ohio Wesleyan's kind of gotten in their groove offensively. It's definitely started to come off from the defensive end.
Keeter tries to go to her left a lot. Another 3 comes. That one's no good as Aaliyah Karras couldn't find the bottom.
Boy, they'll keep shooting them, that's for sure.
2 of 7 from three-point range in the early going for the Battling Bishops as the 3-ball ricocheted out for Tiffany Bentler. BW's 3 of 5 from deep. A bad turnover, it goes back the other direction. All right, so Hughes, Clark, Smith, Colombo, and Lemon all come back on the floor for Baldwin Wallace. They got off to such a hot start, and then Ohio Wesleyan stopped the bleeding a little bit, but they haven't really closed the gap. Still a 10-point game.
I think Sherry Harrer just wants to go back to what was working. You know, they exploited them early, and they feel that this senior leadership can do it again. So,
Katie Smith finds Colombo, who competes so hard night in and night out. Clark looking for her third, and she knew it was short right out of her hand. She ran down the rebound.
You always follow your shot.
Colombo bounces back to Clark. Katie Smith can't find the bottom, but she puts it up a second time. Katie Smith finished and makes it a 12-point effort. She's got 5. Ohio Wesleyan trying to get something going. They've hit only 4 of 13 to start the game. Turnaround jumper from just a few feet away, and Keeter was off the mark. Colombo forces the issue. You can tell she's comfortable dribbling with either hand as Katie Smith tries a 3. That one didn't go either. Off the Battling Bishops, it stays with Baldwin Wallace. All the Yellow Jackets on their feet over in front of their bench, clapping for the good effort. All right, so senior Taylor Dixon checks out. She's certainly worked hard. On the inbounds, the Jackets trying to get something with a good look.
That's what you got to do. You have to move the ball against this zone. Look for skip passes and look for that short post corners where usually the openings are in that 2-3.
Lemon's left hand did not result in anything. Instead, Karras gave way to Popovich. Good authoritative drive right down the left lane. It didn't go for her. Colombo in transition. Hers is off the mark. Clara Lemon got the rebound.
Offensive rebounding certainly helping the Jackets early on.
Katie Smith picked up her dribble. The OAC Player of the Week, Mackenzie Colombo, gave it free in the final minute of play in quarter number 1. And that one went out of bounds too. Baldwin Wallace leads by 12 with just 35 seconds left in the first quarter. They've hit 9 of 18 shots in the first half and have limited Ohio Wesleyan to just a couple of looks close to the basket. Most of Ohio Wesleyan's shot have come from deep. Keeter. Boy, it's just not falling for the Battling Bishops this half. I think it was whistled that it should be BW basketball because Keeter went out of bounds. She was the first player to touch the ball as soon as she came back on the floor.
Have to reestablish yourself.
Shot clock is off. Final possession of the first quarter. Casey Hughes gives to Colombo. Back to Hughes. And she traveled. Casey Hughes was open, but too many steps. Sherry Harrer jumping up and down and saying, hey, mark the shooters. Don't give them a free look here with just a couple seconds left. Toward midcourt. Lacey throws it up, and it's too strong. That'll end the first quarter. Ohio Wesleyan's put up a decent fight here over the last few minutes, but a really hot start for Baldwin Wallace. They hit 5 of their first 6, and they've opened up a 12-point lead after 1. You're watching BW Yellow Jacket basketball on BWYellowJackets.com. Tonight's Yellow Jacket women's basketball game is brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic Sports Health Division. They are the official healthcare provider for BW Athletics. Also by American International. When you require a company with proven performance, rely on American International. And finally by Crown Plaza in Middleburg Heights. When you're looking for a quality place to stay before or after any Yellow Jacket contest, choose the Crown Plaza. It's 22-10. Baldwin Wallace on top of Ohio Wesleyan after a really good first quarter, not just on the offensive side early, but the defensive side throughout.
Yeah, they held them to just about 23% shooting, which if you don't know basketball is a very good mark for defensively, holding Megan Keeter and Trisha Lacey to a combined 2 of 9 shooting in that first quarter.
Battling Bishops need to try and get something going early on here because they dug themselves such an early deficit. They gave up 5 of the first 6 shots of the game that went through for Baldwin Wallace. There was a good layup, though, right out of the gate from sophomore Erin Delaney, who did not play in the first quarter, but she immediately gets in the scoring column. Makes it a 10-point game, and the Yellow Jackets are off and going on offense. The zone defense, we saw that change early in the second phase of the first quarter as the second shot attempt goes up. It looked like it may have been off of Lemon, but stays with the Jackets anyways. If you tune in a little late, Ohio Wesleyan fell behind quickly early on, 14-3, so they burned a timeout, and then they switched to the zone defense, and that sort of stumbled this BW offensive halt. But Katie Smith finds the bottom of the can there.
I was going to say they were actually beating Baldwin Wallace 9-8 in points after that timeout until that layup. So
9 minutes to go before halftime, and the Yellow Jackets lead at home by 12. First home game for BW since the middle of November. Their very first game of the year. Other than that, 6 in a row. After BW finishes up today's game, they'll play on the road on Wednesday. Nice move spinning through the lane as Lacey's layup was denied. Colombo denied a lane to the basket. This is Sydney Clark. Hughes for three. Rolled in. Ball hit the side of the rim, bounced straight up in the air, and then came back through.
That's a shooter's touch.
Largest lead of the game at 27-12. First basket of the night for Casey Hughes, the freshman from Springboro. And a double dribble whistled against Aaliyah Karras. Whole style line changes again for Baldwin Wallace. They've done that a couple of times already. 5 in and 5 out. Fecht, Schill, Marshall, Bentler, and Wommeldorf all back on the floor for the Yellow Jackets.
Last time they brought the squad on the floor, Ohio Wesleyan was able to, kind of get on a roll offensively. We'll see how Sherry Harris made some adjustments for this squad.
Bentler was open. She gave up to Fecht instead. Working the ball around nicely. The three comes from the left wing, and it's buried by Riley Schill. Great ball movement, working both sides of the perimeter, in and out. 30-12. Ohio Wesleyan's down by 18. And the jump ball favors Baldwin Wallace. Stacy Ungashik Lobdell, the head coach for Ohio Wesleyan, sitting on the very edge of her seat in the black top and red pants, and admittedly, she looks a little bit bewildered.
Yeah, frustrated to say the least, I would think.
More movement around the perimeter as BW looks for a passing lane. Fecht for three. She followed her shot. It was pulled in by another one of her teammates and then slapped out of bounds by Ohio Wesleyan.
One of the things about this zone I've kind of noticed early is when you play a zone, you're not matched up against someone particularly. So that makes boxing out a little bit tougher. And I've been able to see that Baldwin Wallace has been getting those offensive rebounds because they haven't been boxing out their certain person. They're kind of still staying in that zone and not finding a body to put that to.
Dixon and Wommeldorf both got hands on the basketball, and it forces possession back to Ohio Wesleyan. Brendan Gulick and Eric Kwiatkowski from Ursprung Gymnasium on Bagley Road in Berea. Glad to have you along tonight for just the second time at home this year for the Jackets, though it is shaping up to be a heck of a campaign. Still unbeaten through the first month of the season. Swatted out of bounds. Rachel Wommeldorf wasn't having any of the three from Meg Dunning. I love the lack of a reaction from Wommeldorf. Just another big-time swat from her.
And the bench wasn't lacking emotion, that's for sure.
That was her 6th block shot of the season. Marshall couldn't quite hold possession. Thought maybe for a moment she would pick it back up. Keeter, great crossover move. She creates some space. And unlike sometimes in the first quarter when she had close shots, that time she's able to finish.
Yeah, great scorers always seem to find a way to get the ball go through the net no matter how they're shooting. So it's nice to see that ability come through.
Foul from behind. It looks like Aaron Delaney got a little over-aggressive. Keeter's got 6, averaging 14 per game. She was all conference a year ago, along with Taylor Dixon, who this year has faded off a little bit. But Dixon last year was one of the top 5 three-point shooters in the country. She's only hitting 34% on the 2016-2017 campaign. Fecht put it up and in and one. How often do you see that? She swished the shot, hardly moved as she got fouled, and she's got a free throw coming. Nicole Popovich must have breathed on her the wrong way because she really didn't seem to incite a lot of contact. Hannah Fecht, tremendous concentration.
Yeah.
As pure a three-point shot as she could have put up. And she follows it with a perfect free throw. BW by 20, 34-14. Final 6 minutes of the first half. Battling Bishop's trying to go right side with Gorka. And she did not. All right, the other way, the Jackets, they've shot a lot around the perimeter today. Already 11 three-point attempts in the first half. They've hit 6 of them. Wommeldorf works to the right corner now. Riley Schill back up top with 10 to shoot. Feck the ball fake in the drive, and the runner does not fall. And both officials on that half of the floor whistled for a foul, and it goes on BW. Big games coming up for the Yellow Jackets after the Christmas holiday, and those games are going to be hosted at home. Their first ever holiday invitational, December 29th and 30th. Hope you can join us for that one. We've got a timeout on the floor. BW leads by 20 with 5:42 left in the first half on BWYellowJackets.com. Closing minutes of the first half, and Baldwin Wallace has gotten off to a terrific start. They've opened up a 20-point lead. Eric, they've only given up 4 points in the second quarter so far, and the offense hasn't let up on their end.
Yeah, just like you said, in the first quarter they were 6 of 22 from the field, about 27%. And the second quarter hasn't changed that much at all. 2 of 7 for 28% shooting. So they're keeping that defensive pressure on, and hopefully it'll continue the rest of the game.
Keeter trying to make it happen on her own, and look at that play. Megan Keeter only 5'5", and somehow she threw a missile up at the rim while getting hammered, and she put it in and has a free throw coming. It's the first foul of the game on Rachel Schill, and just the second foul on the Jackets in the second quarter. Keeter's free throw is good, so she continues to have a nice evening. 9 of the 17 for Ohio Wesleyan. Still, though, the Yellow Jackets way out front. Wide open three, left corner for Bentler. Tiffany Bentler just won't let the foot come off the gas.
That's all from great ball movement. Hannah Feck saw she had a good shot open for 3, but she passed it up for a great shot. So that's good ball movement.
Jackets have been making that extra pass repeatedly tonight. What looked to be kind of a desperate 3, chucked up, didn't go, but Gorka with great effort forced it back up and in. Nicole Gorka did not play for the Battling Bishops last year. She took the season off. It was an undisclosed reason, but she is certainly making her presence known here in 2016 and 17, getting back on the hardwood. That ball fell on the baseline out of bounds and stays on this half of the floor. Like the balance, too, that BW has had tonight.
Absolutely. In
the scoring column. All but 2 players have actually scored, and one of them is the senior starter, Clara Lemon. Plays in the post. Clara's had a couple of shots, and she's had 5 rebounds, but no points. Katie Smith leads the way with 7. Sydney Clark had 2 early threes. Give her 5 rebounds and a couple of assists as well. Mackenzie Colombo with 5 as Bentler puts in another three-pointer. 6 points for Tiffany Bentler. Both three-point shots have come in the last 2 minutes. Deep 3, and it's just a little bit too soft. Lacey couldn't find it. Jackets running the floor. Oh, what a great scoop shot. Kara Marshall finished, and the Battling Bishops have to take another timeout. BW is running and shooting the Battling Bishops out of the gym, 42-19. Full timeout called by the Battling Bishops, so we'll take it with them. BW way out front, late first half. A lopsided affair inside Ursprung Gymnasium, where the BW Yellow Jackets have done very little wrong today. Shooting at 52%, they've hit 8 of 13 three-pointers. And Ohio Wesleyan kind of reacting like they don't really know what's hit them. 42-19 late second quarter. The Battling Bishops are looking for anybody to spark a run. Tricia Lacey finished after she put a nice spin move on Bentler to get her on the right hip. First basket of the game for the Battling Bishops' leading scorer in Tricia Lacey, who again came off the bench today for the 4th game in a row. Lacey dribbling up the floor here, trying to identify the shooters. Another block around the three-point line. Dixon finds Keeter, and she traveled going to the lane. You can tell if you watch that BW bench, when the Battling Bishops come up in transition, everybody is yelling and pointing, shooter, shooter, trying to make sure they identify the weaknesses defensively around the perimeter.
I mean, that just comes from knowing your personnel, and it doesn't hurt that the bench knows it as well. I mean, you're supposed to know it on the floor, but even when you know it off the floor, it helps build that chemistry and helps, like you said, identify those
Well, and
shooters.
when you've got basically 10 players that are rotating in and out, as Sherry Harrer has done tonight, you got to stay locked in, even if you're not on the floor.
Absolutely. Here they come as we speak.
5 more going to the scores table as Dixon lays in an easy bucket. 42-23. Baldwin Wallace hoping to close the first half on a exclamatory note. Riley Shills played pretty well in her limited time. Needs some help though. 7 to shoot. Top of the arc. Bentler has it. Drives. And the layup forced up, did not go. Well, the shot clock reset, though I think it maybe shouldn't have. Nobody possessed the ball. That probably should have been a shot clock violation. Instead, it goes back to BW. I think the Jackets, they've just caught a little break there.
Yeah, I was going to say that was probably the first time the whole night that this zone has kind of thrown the Yellow Jacket offense off. So,
well, regardless, it was not corrected. Now the officials are going to stand over there and talk about that for a second. I imagine that's what they're discussing. The layup very clearly hit the backboard and then rolled toward the middle of the paint. And they're going to bring everybody in. I would not be surprised if Ohio Wesleyan has possession of the basketball here.
Understandably so. You have to make the right call.
Well, there's no PA announcement that's been made, but clearly the Battling Bishops will take the ball on the baseline out of bounds. So considered a shot clock violation for Baldwin Wallace. They still have a 19-point lead here late in the first half. In terms of your keys to the game, things you really wanted to see early on, what have you liked?
Well, they've handled the shooting ability of the Battling Bishops well, I would think. You know, holding them to just under 30% shooting for the entire game. That's what you wanted to do. They wanted to force them inside, and they've done that. So,
well, admittedly, I'm not sure what the decision was to change their mind, but now BW took the basketball back up the floor. Again, we had no PA announcement made, so can't tell you what the officials had decided there, but it looked like they originally thought it would be a shot clock violation. BW is in danger of another one if they don't get one off in 4 seconds. Clark fouled on the way up. Sydney Clark going to the free throw line. And the senior is starting to fill her void nicely. Clark's first free throw up and good. Mentioned right before we took our last time out that BW has a holiday tournament scheduled for after the Christmas break. As Clark hits them both. They will host Worcester in the opening game of their tournament, 4 o'clock on the 29th of December. And then they will play in either the consolation or championship game the following day at either 1 o'clock or 5 o'clock. But both the men and women's teams hosting that tournament, so there's 8 games here in Berea over a 2-day stretch right before the new year. It'll be a lot of fun. If you get a chance to come out and watch the tournament, I'm sure the teams would appreciate that.
And we'll have them all on broadcast as well. So.
We will. The shot clock went off right as the ball was going out of bounds, but I think there was still 1 second left. The referees have not yet signaled shot clock violation, and they will say 1 second left back on the shot clock. So 1:19 to play. It's got to be catch and shoot for the black and red. Megan Keeter will inbound. Lacey catch and shoot. She did not get it off in time. Great defense leaping at the perimeter, forcing her not to throw one up with a hand in her face. On top of the fact that BW is dominating on the scoreboard, they're dominating in most of the statistical categories. Plus 10 in the rebounding margin. They've got 8 more assists. BW shooting the basketball at a 49% clip. Colombo got her own rebound, forced it up, it didn't go. A third time perhaps. Lemon found Clark. Sizes up the man-to-man defense now. Lemon slings it across. Under a minute to play. Colombo gave it up when she got in trouble. Back to Lemon, and it got jarred loose. That was the best defense the Battling Bishops have played the whole first half.
Yeah, I think they realized the zone wasn't really working for them and switched to a man-to-man.
Lacey's three didn't fall, and the shot clock now turns off with 23 seconds left. And BW can hold for the last shot in the first half. 44-23. BW scored 22 points in each of the first 2 quarters. They've got 8 seconds left here in the second quarter. Colombo got Keeter on her heels. Pops it in her face, but missed it. Boy, if she would have put that one in, this place might have erupted. As it is all BW at halftime. 44-23. The Yellow Jackets could not be playing much better. We'll take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we'll recap the first half for you. It's the Jackets by 19 at the break on BWYellowJackets.com. Halftime at the Lou Higgins Center inside Ursprung Gymnasium. It's Baldwin Wallace way out front, 44-23 over the Ohio Wesleyan battling Bishops. Eric, you look at some of these first half numbers, it's really just about balance for BW. Everybody's contributing so far.
Absolutely. I'm looking at the three-point stats, 8 of 13 made from 6 different players. So that just shows the depth that this team has and the ability for scoring to come from anywhere.
Of the 10 different ladies that have hit the floor tonight for BW, 9 have found the scoring column. The only one who hasn't, senior Clara Lemon, has had 5 rebounds, and she's played really well defensively, so everybody has played an important part here tonight. Nobody's in double figures. The game's leading scorer is Ohio Wesleyan point guard Megan Keeter. She's got 9 of Ohio Wesleyan's 23. Other than Keeter, only one additional player, that's Taylor Dixon, has even hit more than one shot from the floor. Dixon's got 5 points on 2 of 6 shooting, 3 points for Aaliyah Karras, and then 2 apiece off the bench from Gorka Delaney and Trisha Lacey, who they've really shut down. She's hit just 1 of 6. Leading scorer for the battling Bishops, Lacey, averaging almost 15 a night, and she hasn't really done much in that first half.
Yeah, 1 of 6, 0 of 3 from the three-point line. You know, they're getting her off the ball a lot, and I see a lot of defensive pressure, like, focused towards her, so I think that would be the reason, forcing other people to hit shots.
Ohio Wesleyan shooting 31% from the floor in the first half. BW 44%, and that was after a second quarter decline. They really shot the ball well in the first few minutes of the game. When you get off to such a good start, sometimes that can basically put your opposition on their heels the whole way through. And even when Ohio Wesleyan has made a couple of good plays on either end of the floor, BW has so quickly quelched any momentum for Ohio Wesleyan. It's been kind of lopsided.
Yeah, you absolutely said it. They've been able to gain no momentum on either side of the floor, so that just goes to show the prowess of this team and how they've really come together.
BW 44, Ohio Wesleyan 23. A few minutes left in our halftime intermission. BW just came back out for their halftime warm-ups. We'll step aside as well and come back in 6 minutes with the second half. The Jackets by 21 at home on BWYellowJackets.com. Time for the second half with Baldwin Wallace leading by 21 at the intermission over the Ohio Wesleyan Battling Bishops. Megan Keeter, the game's leading scorer for Ohio Wesleyan with 9 points, but it's been Baldwin Wallace's depth and balance that has overwhelmed Ohio Wesleyan so far tonight. Glad to have you along. Brendan Gulick and Eric Kwiatkowski along with you tonight. And BW playing in just their second home game of the season. They've played very well so far as the Battling Bishops take the first shot of the second half and misfire. Ohio Wesleyan 3-6 on the year, and they're probably better than that record would indicate. But I'll tell you straight out, Baldwin Wallace is about as good as they've been in a decade. They are hoping to get to 8-0 as the layup belongs to Megan Keeter. It's 44-25. This is the best start to a season Baldwin Wallace has gotten off to, Eric, in over a decade. It was the 05-06 season 11 years ago, the last time they started a season at least 7-0.
It's been great to see, the balance. Like you said, this team has shown so much depth, and that kind of team has the ability to make a run deep in the playoffs, even to the NCAA tournament. So I think there's a bright future ahead for this team.
Popovich had an open space, but chucked it wildly off the window. Hughes hit a couple threes in the first half. She goes right to the rim with it there, and the ball fell harmlessly away. There was one other game in the conference today, and it's already a final score. It did not go favorably for the Capital Crusaders, who lost to Baldwin Wallace on Saturday. Capital turned around today and lost by 22 at home to Carnegie Mellon. 76-54 the final in that one. Taylor Dixon gives it away for a moment. Aaliyah Karras hands to Keeter. Back to the top, and Popovich with 5 to shoot. Sterling for 3. Way too long, and the BW defense holds strong. Well, there's a foul, and it's an easy foul call, and it bails out a BW turnover. Sterling practically tackled Casey Hughes. That's the third foul on Claire Sterling, so she has to be careful. Still got basically the whole second half in front of us as Hughes launches and missed it. Lemon with yet another rebound. She hasn't scored, but boy, has she played well. 6 rebounds for Clara Lemon so far tonight.
If you look down the Ohio Wesleyan roster, there's no player over 6 foot. And Clara Lemon stands at about 6 foot, maybe even 6'1", 6'2", if you give her the advantage. So she's looking to exploit that rebounding, and hopefully she can get on the scoreboard soon enough.
Sydney Clark's pass split 2 of her teammates. It went out of bounds, so a turnover. Meanwhile, Dixon wants a 3. She missed it short, but a fortuitous bounce for the black and red. Lemon just not giving any space. Great defense. Keeter lost the handle, poked by Lemon for a moment, and the jump ball sends it back the other way. Sherry Harrer's had enough of this group so far. They haven't scored here in the opening 2.5 minutes, so she takes the first group out. I don't know if she would really refer to them as Group 1 versus Group 2, but that's the starting 5 that's played together all game. And so far, she hasn't had any combination of the 2. It's either been those 5 or the 5 currently on the floor. And those 5 are Tiffany Bentler, Riley Schill, Kara Marshall, Anna Fecht, and Rachel Wammeldorf. Marshall missed it at the rim, and the ball rolls out of bounds. So a slow start shooting the basketball in the second half for the Jackets, but still a comfortable 19-point lead here at home. See how the Battling Bishops come out in the second half. Good bounce pass from the point guard Keeter to the post player Karras. Easy bucket, and it's 44-27. Karras has 5. Foul before the shot called against Keeter, her second. That's the 3rd foul of the quarter against the Battling Bishops. Wammeldorf passes it right back to her inbounding teammate Schill. And Wammeldorf tries to step through 2 defenders. The ball rolls out of bounds off of Ohio Wesleyan. It seemed like both teams were waiting for somebody else to make a play happen there. Shot clock is okay. 25 left on the ticker. Oh, great look trying to find Marshall on the inbound, but just wasn't working out, and a foul called. Sherry Harrer not happy as she's pacing up and down the sideline in front of her bench.
I think Sherry Harrer thinks no lead is ever comfortable enough. I mean, you're up 17, but these last few possessions have not been the best from the Baldwin Wallace offense.
First foul on Kara Marshall, and the first foul against the Jackets this quarter. Well, I just mentioned there was no combination yet, and we're about to see one. Mackenzie Colombo waiting to check in, along with sophomore Alex Starr. She has not played yet today as a foul gets whistled in the paint. And this sloppy second half beginning for Baldwin Wallace continues. So Colombo and Starr come on, and they replace Fecht and Marshall. The foul went on Marshall, her second. Right off the inbound, a shot. Sterling's putback drew a foul.
Starting to see a little momentum from the Bishops, a little energy.
So Claire Sterling, the freshman, going to the free throw line. She's seen a lot of minutes so far here this season, but she really needs to work on the free throws. That miss makes 8 of 18 so far on the campaign. Probably her weak point. Got a big one coming here, and she connects. Baldwin Wallace still hasn't scored a point in the opening 4 minutes of the second half. Colombo passes toward the corner. Starr with the fake and the drive. Ohio Wesleyan playing inspired defense, and they come up with another steal. Keeter makes him pay with a basket. 44-30. 7-0 run to start the half. Colombo looking toward the post, but she gave it up top anyways. Wammeldorf back to Colombo, and there's a foul. Popovich was all over Colombo's back as she went sprawling toward the hardcourt.
BW is just not really seemingly finding those open shots they really had in the first half. You saw the ball movement and the spacing was all there in the first half. Not so much here in the start of the second.
Boy, I certainly don't want to get a second guess Wammeldorf as the ball is put back up and in. But I certainly thought Starr off the inbounds pass had an open shot. Yep. Instead, she pump faked and then caused more chaos for herself. BW's lead is 16. They're trying to weather the storm here early third. Wide open three, and it's good. You can't let Megan Keeter shoot it that wide open. And the Jackets want a timeout as the battling Bishops feel like momentum has really shifted their direction. 16 points for Megan Keeter. She is already over her season average with still 15 minutes left in regulation. Jackets lead it by 13. We'll be right back on BWYellowJackets.com. Baldwin Wallace slow out of the gate in the second half, trying to get something going sooner rather than later, but they had such a commanding first half lead that it hasn't hurt them so far. There's a foul away from the basketball on the left side of the floor as Mackenzie Colombo found it in her hands. Jackets have only hit 1 out of 6 since it's the third foul whistled by Nicole Popovich. That also puts them at 4 team fouls in the third quarter. Boy, way too strong on the right-handed layup attempt from Riley Schill. Battling Bishops are working that inside-out game a lot here to start the half. Left-handed scooping layup for Karis, up and in. Nice shot. She's got 7, starting to come alive in the low post. Karis is averaging 7 a game. And 1. Mackenzie Colombo has a free throw coming. That's the 5th foul of the quarter. It's 48-35, Baldwin Wallace.
Nice way to calm the nerves a little bit there. Give it to your senior guard and let her go to work.
That's 4 fouls on Popovich. Tiffany Bentler checks out of the ball game. Katie Smith comes back on. So Starr, Wommeldorf, Colombo, Smith, and Schill out there for the Jackets. Colombo's three-point play completed. She's got 8. She had 25, a career high last Wednesday, then only 5 at Capital, and a low-scoring 51-40 win down in Bexley against a traditionally pretty good Crusaders team. Keeter, nowhere near the rim on that. Colombo went straight up. Now she's straight up beating her up the floor. Katie Smith for 3, right in the middle. Perfect shot. It's 52-35.
Sometimes that's all it takes. See one go in and the floodgates start to open. So we'll see if they can build off that shot.
Katie Smith with 10 points. What a day for her. Working it around the top of the perimeter. And a foul easily called. Lisa Zeller in her first action. Smith's career high is 18. She did that last year in January. At 18 points against the Fighting Muskies. So still well shy of her career high, but certainly one of the better games she's played this season. First point of the night for Lisa Zeller, the sophomore from Grove City Christian High School. Schill and Wommeldorf both have a seat. Clara Lemon, Sydney Clark back out on the hardwood. Jackets lead it by 15. Third quarter hasn't really bothered them too much despite their struggles shooting the basketball. Smith tried to hit another 3 from the same spot, and that one didn't drop. Dixon, a transition triple. As pure as it gets. The Battling Bishops have resurrected. It's 52-40. Colombo, a slasher in her truest form, and she goes right to the rim and draws a foul. It's been a whistle-happy quarter. 9 fouls between these two teams in the first 7 minutes and 8 seconds since halftime.
I think both teams are being just a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end, trying to get those easy points from the charity stripe. It's nice to see the ball go through the net every once in a while. So
Colombo hits the first. She's got 9. And she's in double figures. So Smith and Colombo both have 10, and it's a 14-point game. Circling around. The scoop shot didn't go for Sterling. Lemon rips away another rebound. She's been so good on the glass. Almost double digits. That was her 9th. And there's another Battling Bishops foul. That time Katie Smith got fouled as Keeter bumped into her. And Keeter just picked up her 4th. So Popovich and Keeter both with 4 fouls. And the Battling Bishops are going to need Dixon and others to start contributing. Smith's first free throw makes it a 15-point affair. And it brings Meg Dunning, the freshman from Lake Catholic, off the bench. Hughes checks back in for BW. She'll replace Riley Schill. Katie Smith's free throws up and good. So this is the starting 5 again for Baldwin Wallace. Lemon, Colombo, Smith, Clark, and Hughes. Dixon passes to Dunning. Sterling working against this man-to-man defense. Good head fake and a drive. And 1. Lisa Zeller with authority right to the rack. 56-42. Pretty good move there from Lisa Zeller, who doesn't see a lot of minutes. Only averaging 9 minutes per game, but she's making the most of her time here tonight. Give her 5 points. It's one of the best games of the season for Lisa Zeller. 2 minutes to play, third quarter, and the Battling Bishops have really dug themselves out of that 21-point deficit at halftime. They've still got some work to do, though, down 13. Smith in the right corner. 10 to shoot. This is Colombo. How'd she slip through and get a clean shot off? Loose on the floor, no foul called. 3-on-3. Sterling uses the screen, circles right, kicks off to Zeller. Right to the rim, and Colombo blocked it cleanly, but Katie Smith called for the blocking foul. Sherry Harrer stands on the far sideline. She had her arms outstretched at her side for a moment, frustrated by the whistle. The foul was not on Colombo, though. First on Katie Smith. 2 shots coming for Zeller. First one's up and good, and again, she is really having a nice night.
I was interested to see how the Battling Bishop offense would fare without Megan Keeter on the floor, but Lisa Zeller has picked it up right where she left off. So
Zeller's season high was 4 points against Ohio Northern, another OAC school. That came back on the 30th of November. She's got 7 in limited action so far tonight. Battling Bishops putting some pressure on, and Sherry Harrer's trying to inspire her defense. It's an 11-point game in the final minute of the third quarter. A totally different game in the second half so far. Sterling, baseline. Doesn't go. Clark the rebound, and she was momentarily double-teamed in the backcourt. Colombo thought about that triple. Instead, Clark, jump stop and a layup. 58-45, Clark's got 10. 3 different Yellow Jackets now in double figures. Clark had the first 6 points of the game for BW, but was quiet until recently. She makes a great diving stop there. Shot clock is off. Hughes in the left corner with 15 seconds to play. Colombo almost had it ripped away from her. Clark trying to be smart with it. She wants it herself. Colombo, last second three. It did not drop. Well, the Battling Bishops came out of the locker room and played much better in the third quarter, but they still trail by 13 as the Yellow Jackets figured things out in the latter portion of that third period.
Yeah, no, I think this is the team we were expecting to see coming into this game. You know, we talked about how their record doesn't necessarily show who they are as a team, and I think this quarter definitely proved that they are a team that's willing to fight back and not give up against some of these better teams in the OAC.
Big 10 minutes still ahead of us. We'll be right back with the fourth quarter. BWYellowJackets.com. Yellow Jackets by 13, but the Battling Bishops, no pun intended, have totally battled back into this game after a really nice third quarter where they outscored the Yellow Jackets 22-14. Brendan Gulick and Eric Kwiatkowski with you. just before the Christmas holiday. Bouncing it along the baseline and pinballing it out of bounds. It will stay with the Battling Bishops. BW dominated the first half. It was total domination. They led by 21 points at halftime, but Ohio Wesleyan is, for at least a moment, turned this game on its head. 4 to shoot for Zeller, who's really come on. She gives to Dixon, and her three-point shot did not fall, but Dunning is fouled on her putback. 58-45 BW, and Yellow Jacket fans kind of quietly sitting on the far side of this arena. You can see a lot of them nervously glancing continuously up at the clock, not to check the score, but to see how much time is left. It's almost as if they're wondering, can we just withhold and sustain this run?
It almost seems like the team is doing that as well. They're just they're not putting them away. They're just kind of going with the flow, hoping to see if they can outlast them almost. So I'd like to see them be a little more aggressive.
Katie Smith quickly got up the floor, and she missed a wide open layup, fighting for her own rebound, and she didn't get it. It's a 12-point game, 58-46. Wide open, Sterling. Oh, it popped free. Lemon rebounds it. Look at the speed up the floor from Schill. She couldn't control her body on the layup, though. Zeller hands it off to Dunning. What Karras was calling for it in the low post. Instead, Zeller's three falls in. Wow.
What a game she's having.
58-49. Although the scoreboard says 58-48, I thought her feet were behind the three-point arc. We'll see if they make that adjustment or not as Sydney Clark puts one in. At the moment, we'll go with 60-48. Admittedly, with no benefit of replay, it's hard to know for sure, but the officials don't seem to be stopping things, so I apologize. Maybe I missaw that. Dunning chucked one up. That didn't go through. Can the Yellow Jackets muster something up? They lead by 12, but it certainly doesn't feel that way. Hughes fakes and drives and scores. Five points for Casey Hughes in the ball game with 7:38 left. Zeller's poise at point guard's been really impressive given her lack of minutes this year. Obviously, she scored the ball, but she seems like she's really running the offense well. That one didn't fall in for Sterling. It almost gives you the feeling now, if you're the coaching staff collectively for Ohio Wesleyan, obviously you'd rather have Keeter out there, but do you bring her in to replace Zeller because she's starting to figure it out?
I think you can have her play off the ball a little more. You know, she's the scorer, and Zeller's had a great half scoring the ball, no doubt, but she's definitely that more pass-first type of player. So I think if you can almost use her as a distraction maybe, that might help out that Battling Bishops offense.
Well, Keeter comes back in, and she replaces Meg Dunning. Taylor Dixon also leaves the floor as Trisha Lacey returns. So Zeller and Keeter both out there. Colombo with a 14-point lead brings the troops back up the floor. Bentler, Colombo, Clark, Lemon, and Fecht all out there for the Jackets. Fecht for three. She hit it. BW with 5 unanswered points, and they're stealing the momentum back. It's back to a 17-point lead. Keeter sat for a while. She's got 4 fouls. But the former first-team all-conference player, they definitely need her in the game in these critical minutes late. And she will probably be the inbounder for the Battling Bishops. Sydney Clark taken out for a moment as Kara Marshall comes back on. First time she's played in the second half. Zeller off the inbound, zings it underneath. Sterling goes to work, and Colombo deflects it out of bounds. That's just Mackenzie Colombo's heart. She is as much a competitor as the Jackets have. Lacey working on Fecht. Beautiful defense. Colombo looking for some help. Underneath the basket, and it does not fall through for Wommeldorf. Game's leading scorer has the ball in the right wing. She just gave it up. This is Sterling in the right corner. Zeller blocked by Colombo. Colombo went straight up in the air. Boy, BW's defense in the paint tonight's been tremendous.
Absolutely. They've been definitely trying to force them in that way because they have that type of height inside with Lemon, Fecht, and Wommeldorf. They all have such long arms. Their ability to get to those balls in the paint.
That one hurt, though. Colombo taps her chest and says, that's my fault. She made two really nice plays, but Keeter just wouldn't give up, and she kept attacking, drew the foul, and scored. She's got 18 points. It's 65-50. Up and good. All right, it's a 14-point game now. Megan Keeter from Marion Local High School. She's played really well after kind of a slow start. Three ball went up and did not fall in. Season high, by the way, just in case you're wondering, for Keeter, 22. She's eclipsed the 20-point mark 3 times. She's going back to the free throw line with 19 on her docket tonight. Megan Keeter is taking this one into her own hands. Third foul whistled against Kara Marshall. Stacy Ungashik-Lobdell having a conversation with a couple of her players. As the free throw popped free on Keeter. The arena falls pretty quiet even when there's a visiting free throw. It's up and good. All right, almost half the fourth quarter is behind us. 20 points for Keeter for the 4th time in 10 games this year.
They're going to try and get Keeter involved on the defensive end, trying to get her that 5th foul.
Marshall up and in for 2. 67-52. Marshall with her 2nd bucket. Jackets try to keep those active hands on defense. Seen a lot of passes over the top of the defense that have been deflected tonight as the missile 3 goes in for Karras. That ball had no arc to it whatsoever. Karras has 10. Battling Bishops with a good road crowd, and they're starting to get behind the black and red, who cut it to 12. Sydney Clark returns for BW, who's got 4 timeouts left. They've called 1 this half. Ohio Wesleyan has not burned 1 this half, but they took 3 in the first half. So they've got 2 remaining. Zeller passes right side. They work it to Keeter. Another 3 from Karras is good. Ohio Wesleyan was down 21 at halftime. It's a 9-point game. 13 for Karras as Colombo gets hacked. Boy, I'll tell you what, the Battling Bishops are jumping up and down on their sideline, reacting like they've just tied the game.
Yep.
The scoreboard does not reflect the momentum right now for Ohio Wesleyan. 2nd foul whistled on Battling Bishops sophomore guard Lisa Zeller. Colombo makes it 68-58. Clara Lemon back in there. She's done such a good job on the glass tonight. And her senior leadership necessary late. Colombo with them both. So Mackenzie Colombo, Katie Smith, and Sydney Clark all have 12. That layup was way too high off the backboard. And a foul on Ohio Wesleyan sends it the other way.
It was a big rebound by Clara Lemon. We talked about it all night.
Lisa Zeller, she's played a really nice role tonight. 9 points off the bench. All 5 of her free throws have gone in, and she's hit 2 of 3 from the floor. Colombo tried too hard to thread the needle, and it turned into a jump ball. The possession arrow stays with Baldwin Wallace. Sterling checks out. That's Nicole Popovich who's returned. Freshman playing with 4 fouls along with Keeter. We'll see if we keep an eye on that. Well, the ball wasn't even inbounded before Aaliyah Karras was whistled for a violation. That's her first, team third. Under 4 minutes to go, it's only an 11-point lead, and you can make it 13. Sydney Clark found it off the glass. Battling Bishops have been so much better in the second half. Popovich gives it away to Lacey. Right corner to Zeller. Karras mishandles for a moment. 6 to shoot it. Keeter put in another. 22 matches a season high for the first team All-NCAC senior. Colombo back to Clark, who's wide open. That one was nowhere near the rim.
That's a shot you want, though. An open 3 for Sydney Clark is definitely the look you want.
Down by 11 with under 3 minutes to go. Keeter couldn't spin it home, and Lemon is fouled in her rebound effort. Clara Lemon just grabbed her 12th rebound of the night. Well, Sherry Harrer's team is definitely being tested tonight. They're going to need it before they take on the Worcester Fighting Scots in that first game of the BW Holiday Invitational. But you can't look past their next opponent. They've got a game on the road 2 nights from now at St. Vincent. They'll be in Pennsylvania on Wednesday night for a 5:30 tip. Lemon bounces to Clark. She can't find the bottom of the net. And it stays in bounds. The Battling Bishops down 11. 2:30 to play. Trail pass was bobbled for a moment. Popovich scores. 71-62. Popovich with her first basket of the game. Again, she and Keeter both playing with 4 fouls. Colombo, hesitation dribble, and she's going back to the free throw line. Mackenzie Colombo, kind of a quiet 12 points tonight. Clark, Smith, and Colombo basically leading the charge offensively, but Colombo has just been consistently scoring tonight. It's not been an offensive outpouring. It's been a good game for her, though, especially coming off that OAC Player of the Week honor that was announced earlier today. And a couple of free throws push the lead back to 11. Ohio Wesleyan may have dug themselves too big a hole too early on. But they will fight all the way to the finish. Lemon fouls Karras as she went over her back. We got 1 and 1 coming. Hope you'll join us right after the game. Sherry Harrer is scheduled to come and talk with us for a couple of minutes. First free throw clanked a little too long. It did not go in. And the second one doesn't go either. That might have been Ohio Wesleyan's backbreaker. Can't afford to miss free throws when you're down 11, under 2 minutes to go. In the meantime, Riley Schill helping run the point. Jackets going to use as much time as they can. Schill holds between the rings. Colombo with 6 to shoot. Doesn't use the screen. She put it in anyways. She can flat out ball. 16 for Colombo, and the lead balloons to 13. That one didn't fall either. Well, the post presence from Aaliyah Karras just hasn't quite carried on here in the second half.
Well, I think it's been the play of Clara Lemon. Not only is she grabbing rebounds, but she's a defensive force down there in the paint. Just been stifling down there.
Under a minute to go. The Yellow Jackets had been outplayed in that third quarter, but they have figured it out late enough in the game, and they will hold on to win. Clark didn't connect. Lemon's put back is up and good.
It's on the board finally.
The only player who hadn't scored yet tonight, and she put it in. That one counts too. Actually, I beg your pardon, Alex Starr got in for just a couple of brief minutes. She did not score either, but Lemon's first basket to go along with 12 rebounds. The shot clock is off. Baldwin Wallace about to improve to 8-0. It'll be their best start in 11 years. Ohio Wesleyan will fall to 3-7. They will also host a holiday invitational tournament. Popovich at the rim, puts it through. Final seconds of the game. And there's the final buzzer. Baldwin Wallace with a 77-66 win over the Ohio Wesleyan Battling Bishops. That was as hard-fought a game as BW's probably had all season long. It was truly a long test, but they were able to figure things out in that second half, and the Yellow Jackets go to 8-0. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll be joined by Sherry Harrer, head coach of the Jackets, after an 11-point win on BWYellowJackets.com. Almost. Not yet. Great. Give her this. We're going to, we'll actually stand in front of this, if that's okay. Welcome inside our postgame coverage of the Yellow Jackets tonight after a really impressive 77-66 win. We're joined by head coach Sherry Harrer. And Coach, I say impressive because you had to weather a second-half storm from a team that came out and played inspired basketball in the second half.
Yeah, that's the team I know that they have. That first half was kind of an anomaly. And I thought we played very well in the first half. We didn't come with the same effort and focus in the second half, and it showed.
How about in that first half, though? Two really good offensive quarters. You came out ready to play, and I thought you hit some early shots to put Ohio Wesleyan in that hole.
Absolutely. I was really pleased with our first half team.
As you look forward, I know you got a game coming up on Wednesday. It's such a quick turnaround that you've got to, quickly kind of put what's happened in the rearview mirror. What do you like, though, about the way this team played now with a game behind them here?
I thought in spurts we do what we want to do. Defensively, second half, we've got to get much, much better. But I do like our team, and I think we've got a lot of potential. We're not even close to being where we need to be yet, and we'll just keep working and trying to get better. Can't
wait to see what that looks like. 8-0, the Jackets off to their best start since 2005-2006. Good luck on Wednesday, and we'll see you for the Holiday Invitational.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jackets win this one by 11. Back to wrap it up after this timeout. Yeah, you can put it right there. Thank you. Baldwin Wallace 77, Ohio Wesleyan 66, as the Yellow Jackets move to 8-0 on the season with a win that really kind of pushed their limits a little bit. And you could tell Sherry Harrer was not overly thrilled with the way her team played in the second half. But a win's a win, and they'll put this one behind them quickly and move on to what they've got here coming on Wednesday.
Absolutely. It was a tale of two halves for that Ohio Wesleyan team. You know, they played so poorly in the first half. I think we saw the real team come out to play in the second half, and definitely give credit to them. They pushed through the whole game and definitely gave them a run for their money for that 8-0 start. So
Megan Keeter with her best game of the year. She led all scorers with 24 points on 10 of 17 shooting. She had 4 rebounds and 4 assists. 13 points for Aaliyah Karras with 1 rebound and 1 assist. She was the only other player in double figures for the Battling Bishops. Taylor Dixon didn't make as big an impact tonight as maybe we expected. Only 8 points on 3 of 10 shooting, even though she played 29 of the game's 40 minutes. And Lisa Zeller, great game off the bench. 17 minutes, a season high for her. She hit all 5 free throws, finished with 9 points and a rebound. 10 of 17 from the stripe for Ohio Wesleyan, though that didn't make a huge difference for them because they lost by 11. Baldwin Wallace had a really balanced effort tonight offensively. Mackenzie Colombo, the leading scorer, with 16 points. She also got credit for 5 assists and 4 rebounds. 14 points from Sydney Clark. She had 8 rebounds and 2 assists. 12 from Katie Smith, and a really good effort for her in 19 minutes of play. Clara Lemon finally scored late, but 13 rebounds and some really good defense made her a key player tonight. Casey Hughes also had 5 in a starting effort for her. 7 off the bench for Hannah Fecht, 6 for Rachel Wammeldorf, 4 for Kara Marshall, 6 points for Riley, or I should say 5 points for Riley Schill, 6 for Tiffany Bentler. Everybody seemed to get involved in some way tonight.
yeah, absolutely. When you look at the box score, I think, 11 out of the 12 players that played had an impact offensively. So just great to see. We talked about the depth and balance of this team, and it's gonna bring them far.
The 2 numbers that stand out to me most on the box score: Baldwin Wallace plus 13 on the glass, and they were perfect, 13 of 13 from the free throw line. Jackets also nailed 10 of 20 from beyond the perimeter. So an 11-point win for BW. They are 8-0. Ohio Wesleyan falls to 3-7. Next game for Baldwin Wallace is on the road, but our next broadcast is set for 4 o'clock on Thursday, the 29th of December. It'll be against the Worcester Fighting Scots. Loris and LaRoche will play each other in the other game on Thursday. The winners will play and the losers will play in the consolation and championship games, respectively, on Friday. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Looking good for this team so far. I mean, they're sitting atop the conference with that number 17 Ohio Northern leading the way thus far. But, you know, that'll be a great game. I'm excited to see how the rest of the conference season plays out as it comes ahead. So
one more time, the final: Baldwin Wallace 77 and Ohio Wesleyan 66. For everybody in Baldwin Wallace Sports Information, on behalf of Eric Kwiatkowski, I'm Brendan Gulick. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you on December the 29th. We've got 4 games the 29th and 4 games on the 30th. Both the men and women are hosting the BW Holiday Invitational, so a ton of basketball coming up after the Christmas holiday. If you're celebrating, Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you in about a week and a half. Brendan Gulick saying so long from Ursprung Gymnasium, where the Jackets win by 11 and stay undefeated on BWYellowJackets.com.